Let's talk about my modified Hypercarbon X, what I call Project X. I'll put a link down in the description to the playlist if you want to get caught up on it if you're not familiar, but this video is about how it's held up 2+ years later. And I'll also be introducing a new and I think key change where I'm trying to make this catch up because another project bike has been threatening its status as my favorite. Before I get to that, let me say that if there was ever a bike that proved to me that I could take a Walmart bike and turn it into something that I could not only ride but enjoy on a trail, Project X is it. I completely and over time recreated this bike part by part, swapping the components from big box to local bike shop caliber, and it worked. It worked well. So my suspicions were right. I mean, this is a legit carbon fiber frame, so it only made sense, and 2+ years later that frame's still going strong. Even the finish still looks good. I do my best to keep it nice looking, try to keep it clean. There is one area of aging, just to the finish at the top of the bottom bracket. Now underneath the bottom bracket, an area that does take some abuse on carbon fiber frames. 99% of the time I covered this with painter's tape before I ride, just to keep it protected. It works, as does everything on this bike. So what have I changed? What component did I swap out to try to make it even better? Well, I had an old RockShox coil fork, and that was good. But since another project bike is threatening this one, I added a new RockShox, an air fork, a Recon RLA2. This fork should be lighter and more tunable, so will it make Project X even better? Spoiler, absolutely. First, the lighter weight, which helps out when I do what I all too frequently do, which is go into climbs at the wrong speed or in the wrong gear, where the weight savings can help give me a bit of a buffer, a little energy savings, and that adds up, especially when climbing up hills with roots. By the way, we just passed a route that on this very bike almost 2 years ago sent me over the bars, which can mess with the mind because to this day I still roll over that area with apprehension, but not today, Mr. Root. Not today. So a benefit with weight, but there's also the tuning benefit because the old coil fork I had preload and I had rebound. This air fork adds the ability to adjust suspension pressure. And that's very much a benefit and adds flexibility to the bike because it can be tuned to match different types of trails or even trail to street. And a smoother ride that's lighter, that's more control and less fatigue. Let me go back to weight one more time and get a little more specific because I always dreamed about getting this bike down to around 25 pounds. And I already had it in the mid 27 pound range with the old fork. With the new air fork, it gets closer to my goal, 25.9 pounds. That plus all the good components I already had on the bike, which have been holding up well for the 2+ years. And think about that, 2+ years on a Walmart carbon fiber frame. Through all the various iterations, from bone stock to project status, no issues, no cracks. And let me pause the video here because we're looking down at Cliffhanger in an area where I got myself into trouble, and I've previously alluded to this story and I'll get to that in the near future, but I have enough confidence in this bike to ride it on Cliffhanger, and that says something. You know, if there's one bike that I can point to be kind of an in-your-face to some of the Walmart bike naysayers, this would be it, because there were claims that this carbon fiber frame wouldn't even hold up for around town riding, much less survive on trails, but you know, this kind of just came together and it's worked out well for over 2 years. So with everything I've said, I mean, it's clear that I'm happy with the bike, but do I think that it's better than other options that are out there today? That's a harder argument to make because Schwinn has been upping the game in the last year, and there are some dated elements, and this bike has even been superseded by a Carbon X 29er. And this bike came with 26-inch wheels, though I'm still convinced it was designed to have 27.5, which 2 or 3 sets of tires ago is what I converted it to, which in itself is an argument for it because of the longevity. Would I change anything if I started this from the beginning with a bone stock Carbon X 26er today? Yes and no. For starters, I would use an air fork out of the gate, but it's important to note that back when I was doing this project, I was still buying most of my parts from the local bike shop. And that can be good and bad. Good to get good parts, but bad. For example, I paid $200 for this brake set. And the same with the SLX drivetrain. Great quality, but bike shop prices, it gets expensive, and there are other options today. And also back then, I hadn't discovered IXF cranksets, so I would do things like buy a well-used Shimano group set and be happy with it. But this has held up, but over time, I've learned more savvy part shopping, so I could do it probably better, cheaper today. Parts and pricing aside, is it still my favorite project bike? No. It's been unseated, but it is a close second. The title now goes to Project Comp V2. Though let's put this into perspective, because second place after 2 years of being number one among a fleet of successful project bikes, that's a testimony for how much I still like Project X. And that's my take and my experience on Project X. Now share your thoughts. I'm curious for the new viewers that might not have even been aware that I have this bike, what you think, but especially curious as to how you think if you've been around through this entire project process and know this bike from beginning to what it is today, and what do you think about it with the new 4? Share by commenting below, and also everyone make sure you're subscribed and that you have that notification bell active. It's the only way to get notified when there are new videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. That really helps out the channel with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching and have a great day.